You're watching Philosophical Roast, today's brew. Medium roast. CosmicSkeptic on the Kalam Cosmological Argument.
Even if the Kalam Cosmological Argument was sound, which I hope to prove to you that it's not, it still wouldn't prove any particular God.
The goal of the Kalam Cosmological Argument isn't to argue for any particular God. It argues for the God of classical theism, a personal creator of the universe.
Frank Turek, who we've encountered before on this channel, has had this contention put to him on more than one occasion, and he attempts to get around it by claiming that whatever it was that caused the universe had to be some kind of personal being, because it had to make a choice in creating the universe. Here's a clip from one of his videos called From the Kalam to the Biblical God.
And then also personal. Why does the being need to be personal? Because in order to make a choice, which is what you have to do in order to go from a state of nothingness to a state of creation, you have to be a person.
But Turek and others like him fail to consider the fact that consciousness is not always needed as a driving force behind something happening. I mean, does a leaf choose to fall off of a tree? But even if you could prove that there was some kind of consciousness behind the universe, Turek still makes no link as to why this would need to be a personal God.
The cause of the universe would have to be a personal being, because the only way to achieve a temporal beginning from a timeless state is if the temporal beginning was the cause of a free choice.
I mean, who's to say this God would still be around?
If the cause is not in space, where else could it go?
Who's to say that it cares about humans or intervenes in worldly affairs?
The Kalam Cosmological Argument does not make any claims about the relationship the cause has with any human beings.
And for that matter, who's to say that it would be one God? Why not some kind of polytheistic council?
Because the principle of Occam's razor says we shouldn't multiply causes beyond what is necessary to provide an explanation. There is evidence for at least one cause, but no evidence to suggest a plurality of causes.
And who's to say that it's not some kind of evil God with evil intentions?
The argument is compatible with an evil creator because it makes no claims about the moral character of the cause. It only argues that such a being was the cause of the universe.
The list is unending. This argument offers absolutely no specificities on the nature of this prime mover.
The argument shows that the cause would have to be timeless, spaceless, immaterial, and personal in nature.
And look, this whole argument exists for the sake of it being impossible for there to be an infinite regress of causation. But is that really an impossibility?
Yes, because performing certain actions with an actual infinite leads to logical contradictions, and anything which entails a logical contradiction must be impossible.
Theists often point to the Big Bang and say, well look, here's the beginning of everything in existence. There must have been some kind of cause behind it.
Proponents of the Kalam argument don't hold that everything has a cause, as that would imply an infinite regress. Rather, everything which begins to exist has a cause.
But hold on, because the Big Bang has never claimed to be the beginning of everything. Rather, it's only ever claimed to be the beginning of everything that we know of.
Which is fine, because we should only make claims about things we have some evidence for.
Perhaps there were universes before ours. Perhaps the death of one universe is the Big Bang of the next, and this could be some kind of infinite chain. Perhaps there's a multiverse, and not even a multiverse of separate entities, but maybe one large, infinitely large fabric in which there are sort of localized areas of activity, one of which is our observable universe, which did have its own beginning. There's simply no way for us to know.
We can know the nature of the cause by reflecting on its properties.
Aquinas, Craig, and Turek alike assume some kind of singular grand beginning to not only our universe, but anything that does, will, and can exist. And there's simply no proof to back this up.
This is because time cannot be eternal in the past, which implies an absolute beginning. Consider again Dr. Craig's two philosophical arguments defending the beginning of the universe.
We shouldn't be so naive to assume that everything that applies to things within the universe also applies to the universe itself. To do so is to commit the fallacy of composition, and this is one of Bertrand Russell's prime objections to the Kalam Cosmological Argument. Just because everything within the universe has a cause doesn't mean the universe itself has a cause.
It would indeed be fallacious to assume the universe has a cause just because things inside the universe have a cause. It is for this reason that theists don't assume a cause just exists on that basis. Rather, causality can be accepted based on totally independent reasons, such as causality simply being a metaphysical principle. Looks like that was all the objections lodged in that video. Thanks for watching. Until next roast.